Hey YouTubers, really long time no see. Sorry about that. I am alive, barely. Actually, I've been super sick. I had pneumonia, the flu, pneumonia, something. It started, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and I was really, really sick for a little over 3 weeks. And this last week, I only just started kind of getting over it. I'm still coughing just the tiniest bit. But, I'm 95%. I was able to shovel snow yesterday and today. We got really dumped on here in Colorado. And I could do that without falling over, gasping for air. So it's good. I'm kind of back to almost full capacity. But man, I tell you, I haven't been that sick in a long time. I had, in this 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks of being sick, I had 1 week where it was like nightly chills and fevers and really intense. Like I felt like my ears were going to turn black and fall off. I was so hot. And then, that made it so I couldn't sleep because anytime I laid down, I was either I was freezing or too hot, or I'd lay down and I'd have this horrible, horrible cough. Like my stomach hurt after this sickness. I mean, I thought maybe I'd give myself a hernia. It was bad. It turned out I could sleep kind of on my right side, but on my back or left side, no, not at all. Just couldn't do it. I mean, I would literally cough and not stop coughing. So anyway, got over it all. There's a lot of catching up to do, and I don't know when I'll catch up, but there is catching up to do. And I just thought I would catch you up on stuff that I meant to do before I got sick, and B, things that are coming up that are actually really new. So first off, let's talk about photo stuff a little bit. I did get out and shoot my Horseman 4x5 a little more, and that was literally the day before I got sick. We were in the Buena Vista, Colorado area. I went down to Chalk Creek, which is nearby, and I went there in the dark. I was like, I'm going to get first light on the Chalk Cliffs. And we had scouted it out the day before, got there super, super early. And it was still dusky, or whatever you call pre-dawn, when I got to my scouted location. As it turned out, the scouted location wasn't all that great. I've got just a little bit of video of my first location, and let's go ahead and watch that. Hey YouTubers, I'm out here on about a 25-degree morning off Highway 24 in Colorado at Chalk Cliffs, and I've got the camera set up waiting for the right light. So I guess that's what part of this large format thing is about, is getting all set up and then waiting. So that's what I'm doing. I was out here in the dark, close to the dark. I took off when it was dark, and the sun was just peeking above the mountains when I started setting up. So hopefully this shot comes out and all of this was worth it. I'm shooting with a 135mm lens here. That's about a 45mm lens in the 35mm field of view. So it's not particularly wide, and I could use something wider, probably a 90. But you make do with what you got. I guess I'll be doing some shopping. As it turns out, that location wasn't so great. It was a little too close up. Maybe if I had a wider angle lens, I would have been better off, but I had sort of a short normal. So fortunately, I was still scouting other locations, Chalk Creek area, and I ran into a guy that has worked at one of the camps there for like 40 years. Incredible. And told him I was doing some photography, having trouble finding a good angle on the cliffs. And he goes, oh, just go up that side road there, and it goes up a ridge line. And there's 3 or 4 pullouts, and you'll be fine. And I was. So here's, again, it doesn't work great to show this on video, but here's a print from that location. And this is a good size print. This is 13 by 17 paper. So it's about a 12, what's the math? A 12 by 16, I guess. I'm not good at doing my math on the fly. I have a math degree, not a arithmetic degree. So anyway, and I'll put the link to this. It's out on Flickr, and you can have a look at it. But in full detail, I scanned this on my Canon 9000F. I think I scan at 1600 DPI because the Canon really doesn't go beyond that. It's incredible, the detail. At 200%, you can see things that'll blow your mind. So I'm pretty impressed with the camera, with even this Arista film I'm shooting, which is cheap film. It's been a lot of fun. So that's it for photography, because I haven't done any since that day. I've been way too sick. Moving on, staying with photo stuff. Because of this lack of a wide angle experience, I invested in a used, and that's about the only lens anybody regular can afford, is used large format lenses. New ones are thousands and thousands of dollars. Used ones on eBay. So I invested in a 90 millimeter top core lens from Japan on eBay, and Japan is about the only place that has real selection with large format lenses, I'm finding. It seems like the Americans are holding on to their lenses and buying them from Japan. So anyway, and I've had pretty good luck with this. I have two lenses that are just great. The 90 came. It's absolutely beautiful. I don't have it because there's a story that I'm getting ready to tell. It sat in the box while I was sick for like 2 weeks. Finally unboxed it a couple of nights ago and I got out the shutter tester. I'll demonstrate that in a video at some point. Got out the shutter tester, and it did not work. The low speeds sounded half right at first, and then I could just tell the clockwork stopped working, and suddenly the low speeds are gone. So essentially, at a second, it sounded like it may as well have been a 500th of a second. So shutter not working. Luckily, the eBay seller, good guy, just took responsibility, offered me a refund a partial refund right away. But I felt the need to find out what a repair is really going to cost on this shutter. So yesterday, which happened to be my birthday, I took the shutter on a 50-mile drive, and had a service guy that happens to live sort of nearby say, is it fixable or not, and about what's it going to cost. And so it's turning into a long story. I'm having the shutter repaired, and the eBay seller is going to refund me the cost of the fix, which is all you can ask. If something like that goes wrong, a total return, it's going to suck. I got to send it back to Japan. I got to fill out customs forms. Probably have to pay for it. I'd rather just keep it and use it. So anyway, moving on. I also got recently a 210 millimeter Fujinon, and that is beautiful. Let me grab it. So here it is. This is equivalent in 4x5 to about a 70 millimeter lens, 80 millimeter lens. If you're not used to looking at large format lenses, they look very strange. And I think I've talked about this before, and I'll dig into this deeper if people are interested. They have a front and a rear cell, and in the middle is the shutter. And you can actually remove the shutter from the lenses, and this is the lens board. You can actually, these all come apart, and you can hold the shutter in your hand separately. It's kind of an interesting approach. These shutters aren't made anymore. So if they're busted, you got to get it fixed. And if they need parts, you got to cross your fingers really hard. So if you get into this, due to my videos or whatever reason, be sure to ask the seller before you buy the lens, is the shutter working well, and do you guarantee its operation? It's a lesson that I learned. So anyway, this 210, I'm looking forward to using it. It's a good, actually, believe it or not, on large format, people consider this a pretty normal lens, even though it shoots like a 70 in 35. It'll give me a different point of view. Or all my lenses thus far are kind of normal, short normal, or wide angle. So I've talked enough about that. More on large format experiences. I'm new to it. I just got the Horseman and a couple of months ago, and you learn. You gain experience as you have these things that you never even thought to wonder about. You suddenly go, oh, huh, that's interesting. That's how that works. The Horseman's lens board, I'm glad I got this out. I'll show it from the back. It's tiny. This is a really tiny lens board. It's 80 by 80 millimeters. And that's nice because the Horseman's very compact, and a lens, you know, like this one, it's about the size of the lens board. So this is one compact unit. On other cameras, the lens boards can be like the camera I have coming in, I'll talk about in a minute. The lens board is like 6.5 inches. You know, it's a really big lens board, so it's not something you can throw into a bag easily. But what I'm finding out is people tend to gravitate towards Linhof Technica boards. A Technica is a camera that Linhof made, and they're a little bigger than this Horseman board. I think they're like 91 millimeters roughly square. So they have an odd shape. They're not symmetrical. They have bilateral symmetry, but not both ways. People tend to use those because so many cameras just copied the mount, and so you know, a lot of brands just support a Linhof Technica board right out of the gate. Secondly, you can easily get adapter boards. So I'm going to talk in a minute about another camera I have coming in. I bought an adapter board for it, and it will mount a Linhof Technica board. Nobody makes adapters for Horseman boards to put onto other lens boards. So what I'm finding is I'm probably going to, you know, either I'd have to duplicate. If I have a focal length I really love, let's say I love this 210. I would either have to duplicate that lens and keep it in a Technica board, or, you know, whatever other type of board I want, and have two lenses that are duplicates, or I'd have to move the cells in the shutter between lens boards all the time, because I've got the Horseman, which wants its own board, and whatever else I might have, which wants its own board. So this is one of those things you kind of learn through, I guess, hard experience. So I'm actually toying with the idea, believe it or not, it seems insane, of moving to a folder that takes Technica boards, because it'll support a Technica board right out of the box, and I can use the Technica board with an adapter on other cameras. So, long story, maybe it does you some good if you're still listening. Moving on, I got some other stuff. I need to do an unboxing. I did a video a while ago unboxing the Kanto YU2 desktop speakers, which I'm liking a lot. They definitely don't have a lot of bass, and they don't claim to. I really wasn't planning on getting a sub for them, but here comes Massdrop with a drop for the Kanto Sub 8, which is an 8-inch under-the-desk subwoofer. Probably more than I need. I wish they had had a drop on the 6-inch one. But the price was so good, I couldn't not do it. Again, it came in a couple of weeks ago. Been too sick to fool with it. I may do it today. I may not. No promises. But that's something new that you'll see eventually, and you'll also see when I finally get around to doing my office and desk setup. I'm still kind of working on it a little bit. The other thing, I've been waving my hands about it a little bit, back to photography. I've been watching on eBay 1 million monorail cameras. Not literally, but close to it. Let's say 900,000. I just feel like I want to try shooting with, compared to the Horseman, like no constraints in terms of movements. I just want to, it's an experience thing. I just want to try it. You guys know how it is, right? So there's one in particular. It's like I'm watching 10 different kinds. If you're like me, though, in the back of your mind, you're going, but that's the one I want. Even though it's more than I want to spend, that's the one I want. And so I was watching probably for a month different cameras, but there was one that sat on my list the whole time. KEH had it, so that's a pretty good risk. Most of them are over in Japan. It's an Arca Swiss F-line, and it's not a fancy one. It's like with Arca Swiss, there's like no low end, but it's the low end of the Arca Swiss F-line. So it doesn't have geared movements or anything like that. But finally, I was just like, on my birthday, I'm like, bam, mine. And I got as I was talking about before, hinting around, I got an Arca Swiss to Linhof Technica adapter board for it. So I'll be doing videos on that once I get it in, once I get it set up, once I get it out to shoot. So you can look forward to that if you're still listening to this video. All right, with all that said, there are other things I've been meaning to do. I'm not even going to get into them. So, all of you who've left comments and questions, I haven't answered them. I'm going to try to answer those today. So, look for that. Anyway, thanks for sticking with me. Good to be back. I'll catch you later.